was dating, but you had any trouble dating? Not dating, just committing, huh?
Yeah, well, actually both. 12 years ago, I met a really attractive, bright, wonderful woman, and a friend of mine called me and said, I understand you're going to go out with her. And I said, yeah, I think so. He said, have you ever seen The Exorcist? I said, what are you talking about? This is a nice girl. He says, well, okay, you'll see. He warned me. So I went out with her for a while, and one morning I was feeling real amorous, and this particular woman needs her 8 hours sleep, really needs it. And I was lying there, and I got up feeling frisky, and went, no, kind of waking her up, and she went, don't you ever wake me up again. You're gonna have a bad day. So now I listen to advice from friends. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a frightening sound.
It's a frightening sound. How did this guy know about it? Was it a woman or a man who warned you against this woman?
No, it was a fella. You know, he just said, have you seen The Exorcist? Now, that doesn't, I mean, yes, but why should I?
Now, you've really seen, you've not only seen, but experienced The Exorcist.
It was very frightening for me.
Mark?
I think I know her sister. Yeah, I think I dated her before I met
We don't
my
have to know
wife.
everything.
No, that's before I met lovely Linda, who was my wife, who's a sweetheart. Here we go, 95 degrees is going to be the high today, maybe even 96 today.
Oh, we had Margaret Kent on our show.
A song immortalized by our next guest. Petula Clark went on to rack up a string of #1 hits, including Don't Sleep in the Subway and I Know a Place. And more than 20 years later, the British singer is still going strong. I'm very happy to hear that. This Tuesday, she'll be appearing at Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City. And before we meet her, here's a look at her in concert.
Wander around on your own little cloud when you don't see the why or the wherefore. You walk out on me when we both disagree, 'cause to reason is not what you care for. Don't stand in the pouring rain. Don't sleep in the subway, darling. The night is long. Forget your foolish pride. Nothing's wrong. Now you're beside.
Please welcome Petula Clark. Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Your hairdo's changed.
Oh, well, yeah, that was about 3 years ago. It was at the Royal Albert Hall with the London Symphony Orchestra.
I once played in that building. It's like
Yeah.
a cylinder.
It's very well. It was built by not actually, she didn't actually build it herself, but Queen Victoria. So it's quite old, but it's got an amazing sort of atmosphere to it. Don't you think?
I was scared to death, so I don't...
Yes, it's pretty scary. Yeah.
When you had your first success, it was as a child.
Well, yes. Well, I started when I was about 6. And by the time I was 10 in England, I was a child star. I suppose I was the equivalent of Shirley Temple in England, really, without the dimples.
Well, you hear constantly about how negative that is for someone to start off that way, but I would imagine that there's some advantages also.
Well, yes, I loved it. It got me out of school, too. I was a complete dunce in school. And I used to travel around in troop trains, and I used to entertain the troops all over England, including the Americans who were stationed there. I was their mascot. And the Canadians and the Poles and the Free French. I loved it.
You have just completed, you've co-written a musical. Now, I have to say, in all honesty, I have a problem with musicals because people break into songs. Someone says, hello, how are you? I'm fine! And it's just...
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know.
Now, with your musical, what are you going to do to beat that?
Yes, there have been a lot of these sort of opera things. Les Miserables is really an opera. Phantom of the Opera is an opera. Our show has dialogue. I like to hear people speak. And the music, we are trying to sort of build into the dialogue, in and out of the dialogue. I mean, obviously, it is a bit odd, people suddenly breaking into song, but we're trying to make it very realistic. In fact, it is a very realistic script. It's been written more like a movie than a stage show.
Downtown was a hit in 1965. What do you see today in the music business that is very different from back then?
Well, I don't know. The whole sound is different. There's a lot of electronic stuff going on, which some of it's okay. I find it a little tedious. I find it a little tiring. I still like to hear a real orchestra. Oh, if you can mix the two, that's even better. It's different, but there's good and bad, and there was good and bad in the 60s. Let's face it, there was a lot of rubbish around, as well as good stuff.
Now, what are you going to do in your live show at Caesars?
Well, I'll be doing. I think I get lynched if I didn't do Downtown and Don't Sleep in the Sun. They're good songs anyway. I love them. This Is My Song and a whole bunch of things, you know. But I will also be doing some contemporary stuff. I might do some Beatles stuff. I don't know, as it's the 20th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper. You know, they've just brought the record out again. I might do that. I haven't really made up my mind yet what I'm doing.
Well, you better hurry up because you got the,
I'm doing
the gig tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm signing some records this afternoon in the village at Tower Records. So I've got that to do. I've got a very busy day today. This is the beginning of my day. It couldn't be nicer.
This is a nice thing. Do national television.
Yeah, it's great.
Of course. When you first came to America,
yeah,
you were already an established star in Europe and England, and then you came here with Downtown. What happened when you performed and all of a sudden you realized everyone was crazy for you?
It was terribly exciting. I hadn't expected it. You know, I already had a very big career in Europe for many years before Downtown happened, you know. I was a star in Europe, and then I wasn't expecting it all to happen for me in the States, and when it did, it was just like the icing on the cake, and it's wonderful.
Well,
and it's lovely to be back.
It hasn't stopped. Thank you for being here. It's
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Coming up next, how to handle sibling favoritism. Stay with us.
Later this week on the morning program, Broadway star James Earl Jones, presidential hopeful Richard Gebhardt, model Carol Alt, and the Monkees. All this week on the